Hi, welcome to Exploring the Illusion of Free Will. My name is George Ortega. I'm here with our guest, Enel. Enel, it's great to see you. These are like our last two shows before we go into reruns because we've been doing this for 3 years and you can lead a horse to water but you can't make it drink, and we can't make you get this unless the universe wants you to get this, all right? So but we'll be here. We're going to do one new show a month. But we'll be here for years if it takes for you to understand that absolutely nothing in the universe is in any way up to you, up to anyone.
Well, you can't blanketly say we're going to do this because it's not up to us.
That's true.
We're going to attempt to try to do this.
No, that's a good point. The universe is getting me to expect that we will, but the universe can change it at any minute. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. All right. This is episode number 153, The Free Will Puppet Test. Okay, now you want to explain what this is about?
No idea what you're talking about.
All right, so I'll explain it.
What is free will? Why is it important?
All right. Basically, the free will term belief that we're refuting is the belief that what we do, what you do, what other people do, what anyone does is in any way up to us. Okay, people think that what we do is up to us. The reality, the truth, and truth matters, is that absolutely nothing that we have ever done has been up to us, that we will ever do is up to us. That's the truth. That's the free will notion that we're refuting.
Okay. Why is it important?
It's important because John Searle says it's important.
You're smoking something before you came here.
I'm not. Basically, no, I'm frustrated. This is
me too.
What I'm saying is we've been doing this for 3 years. Our next show is our last episode, at least for a while. Again, then we're going to go into reruns and we'll do a new show every month or so. But this is we're burnt out. We're kind of giving up, in a way. But all right, why is this important? I'm going to quote John Searle. John Searle, who's John Searle?
The 13th most quoted philosophers after 1910.
1900.
1900.
Post-1900, of all the philosophers born after 1900, he is the 13th most cited. And there's hundreds of thousands of philosophers.
And who's Susan Blackmore?
Susan Blackmore is a British psychologist who interviewed him for her book. And that's what he asked him.
And she said?
She asked him, what would it mean for the world to understand that free will is an illusion?
And what did he say?
He said
You're kidding.
that for free will to be understood by the world as an illusion would, quote, be a bigger revolution in our thinking than Einstein or Copernicus or Newton or Galileo or Darwin.
Wow, that's pretty big.
Unquote. And then he said it would, quote, alter our whole conception of our relation with the universe.
Wow.
Tell me that's not big.
That's huge.
That's huge. And that's why we're doing this show, because we only do
it's meaningful.
World-changing things.
It's the only meaningful thing out there. Other than money.
Pleasure, happiness. Why are we doing this? The only reason we're doing this is we expect that when people understand that nothing's up to us, we're going to be much kinder to each other. We're going to be much kinder to ourselves.
I don't care if people are kinder. I just want the truth. What difference does... the truth is going to catch up to everybody anyway. So what good is it to lie to everybody in society saying, oh, you did that under your own free will?
Yeah, but it's not just about
I'm saying I agree the planet will be made much more compassionate and a much better world. But even if it were worse, just to play with me, even if it's still the truth that there's no free will. So the truth alone has got to stand for something.
Yeah.
Of course the world's going to get better and people can see you in their shoes and vice versa. Compassion and understanding and kinder and gentler. But even if you were wrong and made everything worse, the truth has to be told. We came to Earth to get this right.
I agree, but here's the thing.
But of course it's going to be much better.
Let's say you're a dad with kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say we knew for a fact that after this life, everybody goes to hell. Not a single person. All right, that's not something you want to tell your kids. In other words, truth is important, but happiness is more important.
But how can you be happy lying to yourself all day and night and living a life of a lie, believing in free will?
Well, that's one of the reasons we understand that we don't have free will is what's known as the hedonic imperative, meaning that we are designed to seek pleasure and avoid pain. In other words, the reason that we've been doing this show for 3 years and people aren't getting this is because they are under the guidance of this hedonic imperative that won't allow them to understand it because it doesn't make them, it kind of like they can't understand how they can be happy by knowing this.
Whenever I bring up the fact that I don't believe in free will at any meetup other than yours, the psychological, emotional, and mental discomfort in other people, it's like they're completely unhinged. They just can't wrap their mind. I get attacked publicly if I say something. I mean, you try to say publicly or at a, not public, but at like a cocktail party, a Super Bowl party, or some schmoozing at a wedding, and just say, I don't believe in free will. Look at the reaction you're going to get. People jump right on you. Oh, you could set whatever you set, you can get done in life, whatever you set your mind to. It psychologically unhinges everyone. You get yelled. Some people, it's a very sensitive topic. People get very excited. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Well, I'll tell you.
It's like
here's what. All right.
It's like a public people just pile on and say, "How could you not believe in free will? What's the matter with you?" Right there in front of other people at a dinner party. You could be at dinner and say, "I don't really believe in free will." You get attacked.
I know, but like
it's like a taboo subject that nobody can. I mean, come on.
Charles Darwin.
You can talk about. Sorry.
Thank you. Charles Darwin, around 1860 or something, popularized. He didn't devise this. He popularized evolution. There was somebody who proposed it before he did, but his theory was very robust, very comprehensive and stuff. He got people to understand that no, there wasn't a Garden of Eden. That the first woman wasn't yanked out of the rib of the first guy, and the first guy wasn't made out of a lump of clay. Okay, this is evolution, right? Now, 150 years later, you've got half of Americans don't believe in evolution. They believe in this Garden of Eden stuff. So that'll tell you a lot. People believe what makes them feel better to believe.
What I'm saying is, at a dinner party, a civilized dinner party, politics, sex, religion, pornography, all these things that used to be taboo are pretty much spoken about fairly seamlessly and effortlessly without being attacked. The taboo subject of openly saying you don't believe in free will, it's still in hiding.
I agree with you completely.
What is going on here? I tried it the other day, and people get so psychologically, emotionally disturbed over the fact that I'm saying there's no free will. The sensitivity, it's not worth.
What's going to have to happen?
I have no idea. They're going to have to be. Oh, that you're kind of correct. Let's discuss it. I feel the same way.
All right, we should do the puppet test. We got this title here.
Right, but do you think we can have a public debate without everybody throwing things at us and saying that we're...
Absolutely.
I think they get so psychologically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, psychically, physically unhinged.
The universe is not allowing my guest...
Well, if Sam Harris is there, he'll understand.
The universe isn't allowing us to present this information in the best way to people. In other words, if you and I were storytellers, if you and I were really tapped into how to move people's emotions, we would talk in such a way that they would see the benefit of understanding this, and it would happen. So it may not be up to us in that way.
Oh, we may not be saying it right. We're too combative.
We're pioneering this in a certain sense, but we've taken this from academia, where it's languished for decades, for centuries, and for the first time ever in human history, you and I and our meetup, in Manhattan, has brought the issue to the public. All right, so now the public, is aware of this over the last couple of years. It's going to take people time to digest this, but when they do, then somebody's going to come around. Somebody like Malcolm Gladwell, who knows how to tell stories. No, Harris did a good job.
Good job. He does a great job.
No. He did a horrible job because,
Have you seen...
I read his book.
I've seen him speak about it. He's a very good speaker.
What I'm saying is
funny.
He published a book. He's a three-time New York Times best-selling author, neuroscientist. He published a book, and he starts a book with this heinous crime. This guy goes in and kills and rapes and stuff. It's horrible. He starts the book like that, and then he proposes, this person's not to blame because he doesn't have free will. He doesn't understand the psychology. You can't start a book like that and then try to help get people to understand.
I've seen his YouTube speeches. He does an excellent job. He's a genius. He's a genius. Sam, help us out. I know he lives in Manhattan.
But again, what this issue needs is somebody. It needs a documentary. It needs somebody to create a major.
It needs Sam Harris to not drop it and go on to something else. I saw him on Bill Maher. He barely brought up. He should have said, "Bill, there's no free will. Let's have a debate."
The free will puppet test is to address compatibilists. Compatibilists are people that say, yeah, I know everything has a cause, but we still have free will. What compatibilists do is they change the meaning of the word free will. They say, like, if we can, like, this is important.
I'm listening.
Basically, they say, like, well, I choose things all the time. They can have free will. The purpose of this episode is, like, what we're saying is, like, no free will, not having free will means that we don't have any more control than a puppet does. Okay, so like you address this, you apply this definition to anything these compatibilists or these libertarians say about free will, then that's the way to get them to understand.
Okay, let's not use fancy words for a second. Okay, compatibilist, incompatibilist, libertarian. We're just realists.
Okay.
There's no free will. What else? I mean,
the idea,
everything has a cause. That has a cause. That you got that.
All right.
Let's define free will. All right. You can't make decisions. All decisions are made within your genetics and conditioning. You cannot make a decision outside of one's genetics and conditioning.
All right. The idea is, like, so some people object. Some people say, like, all right, there's different meanings of the word free will. To some people it means a certain thing. To another people it means a certain thing. So the purpose of this episode is to bypass all these different meanings. And we're saying that, like, regardless of what you say free will means, we human beings do not have any more control over what we do than does a puppet, period. That's what we're addressing. So, like, it doesn't matter what you call free will. The fact is we don't have control over anything. If we did, we'd all be blissed out.
And let's put to bed this argument, well, I make decisions, therefore I have free will.
Well, actually, let's go with that. Because, like,
I hear that a lot. I make decisions. I didn't have free will as a kid or a teenager. As soon as I turned 18, I was under my parents' thumb and roof and money. As soon as I was 18, I made my own decisions. I became free. I was able to use my free will when I turned 18 because I was able to make decisions. First of all, kids make decisions.
Absolutely.
Animals make decisions and computers make decisions.
Right, but it's not about decisions, is it?
Thank you. No.
What is it about?
It's about making decisions that are 100% independent of one's genetics and conditioning. It's about free decisions. Exactly. Don't try to stump me. I'm tired today.
No, you said it completely right.
I never said it wasn't about decisions.
You said it completely right.
First of all, it's not about... Okay, wait.
It's about free decisions. Free will, not will.
You can make choices, the verb. There's no choice, the noun. In the most esoteric, expert, black diamond version of no free will, you don't even make decisions. But people don't get that. They don't get that. You want me to try that?
Yeah, we're going to describe to you right now, ladies and gentlemen, why you don't even make decisions. Go ahead.
Well, the word decision implies free will. That's the problem. If there's no free will, you're making decisions, but they're all predetermined. So you had to do what you did. You couldn't have done otherwise. You're always doing the best you can at the time. So you really didn't make a decision. You just went with the flow with your life in the karmic stream taking you to wherever it goes. You didn't really make a decision because the word decision implies free will.
All right,
so there are no decisions.
Let me illustrate this by an example. Let's say you create a robot, right? And you program that robot. Every time it goes across an obstacle, it runs, across an obstacle, it's going to make a left turn, okay? It can't but do that because that's how you programmed it. All right, so when it goes to that obstacle, makes a left turn, you can't say that it made a decision. It's making what you compelled it to do. So that's how we are. We're programmed to be hedonic creatures. We seek pleasure. We avoid pain. We have this moral imperative. We have this optimization
So
imperative.
what George is saying is if you program the robot to go to a fork in the road, and every time it's at a fork in the road it goes left, it's making a decision, but it's programmed because left means more pleasure than pain, and right is more pain. So it always has to, no matter what anybody says or does, it's got to go left. So is that a, quote, decision? Well, it looks like a decision, but it has to go left.
It's not the robot's decision. Where's my camera?
It's the programmer's.
It's not the robot's decision. It's the programmer's decision. You are making it make that left.
And the program is the hedonic imperative. Going towards pleasure, the most amount of pleasure and the least amount of pain is the program. In this example, a robot on wheels flies into a wall. It always has to go left, or a fork always has to go left. That's going towards pleasure. If left is more pleasure, it has to do it.
Has to do it. That's not a decision. If you have to do something, you're not deciding.
I know, but if you're at a
to do
cocktail
it.
party and someone says, I have free will because I make decisions, and you say, well, technically you don't make decisions, they get totally psychologically unhinged and start an argument with you.
Well, let me tell you something.
They get very sensitive and upset if you say, oh, no, you don't make decisions. Oh, really? I just chose vanilla ice cream over chocolate.
Wait,
answer that.
I'll you know why that's about? All right. There's a thing in psychology called motivated reasoning. And motivated reasoning is like a lot of times people decide not based on reason, but based on what feels good to them. In other words, like some people can't accept that climate change exists because they can't deal with it. Some people can't accept certain things because they can't emotionally deal with it. So like a lot of people, what happens is their emotions, their desires, their needs hijack their reasoning. So you can have somebody who's you got a lot of academics. The other thing is like, sometimes like we think some people are like really, really intelligent. They're not, because the way they get through school is like by learning stuff, memorizing it, and reciting it back. And that's only one aspect of intelligence. The more like important aspect of intelligence, one that I think we're both graced, it's not like something we chose, but like intelligence is also about understanding stuff. So in other words, if you can't understand that everything has a cause, and because everything has a cause, nobody has a free will, you can't say that you're very intelligent. So like for a lot of people in the world, they're just not there. You can't blame them. They're doing the best they can at the time.
Everybody who calls our show when we're live is adhering to the hedonic imperative. They want to get on TV and prove to everybody how smart they are by beating George and Enel and tricking us and saying whatever they have to say to prove that free will does exist. That's all they're doing. We get into these arguments. Like you said at the beginning, I don't know if you said it this time, this is our second to last show. We're giving up. You guys win. You win. You can't get it. You're idiots. It's not your fault. We don't want to be on a planet fighting every Wednesday night telling you why there's no free will.
We can lead a horse to water.
If you can't get it, you can't get it. You're too emotionally, mentally, spiritually, most importantly, psychologically stuck on the free will, good feeling, high, emotional pleasure. It's too painful for you to even listen to what we're saying.
And we're not going to give up on you.
You have to admit that you're going towards pleasure and away from pain. So in that argument, you automatically lose because you have no choice but to believe in free will. You have no choice but to believe in free will because the emotional, mental, and psychological discomfort of not believing in free will is too much for you.
And we're going to get very philosophical.
It's too much for me to listen to this nonsense. So
I'm
allowed to say, I can't take it anymore. I don't like it. I'm unhappy.
We're burnt out from this 3 years. And we haven't burnt out completely. We have faith. We have faith. I think we have faith.
We're 100 years too early.
Eventually, they're going to get it, right? Eventually.
Oh, we're going to be long gone.
No, I think 10, 20 years. In 10 to 20 years, everybody's going to get this. But
they can't. They're too emotionally attached to free will. It's a bad
let's
drug.
Get philosophical.
Free will's like smoking. It's bad for you and addictive.
All right. We don't have a free will.
You did that to me under your own free will. How heinous is that?
Listen to me.
How malicious. Pernicious. Insidious.
Listen to me. Everybody, you don't have a free will.
I like rhyming with us.
I don't have a free will. They don't have a free will. Nobody has a free will.
Actually,
right?
Here we are. I do have a free will. I'm changing my mind.
That's not free will. The point I'm trying to make is
of course I don't have free will. I want to see what that felt like.
The point I'm trying to make is that, where's my camera? I want a camera for this. The point that I'm trying to make is like, it's not up to you whether you understand that you have a free will. It's not up to us that we understand you don't have a free will. The universe, God, call it whatever you want, has compelled you to not understand, has compelled us to understand.
George, they don't get it. They don't get it. They don't know what you're talking about.
But no,
if they believe in free will, they think they're deciding not to believe.
I know, all right.
Or to believe.
But that's the reality. And here, let's get philosophical.
Their pastors and rabbis and parents told them. Come on.
The idea is like, fine, stuff isn't up to us, right? So call it God, call it the universe, call it the causal past, whatever you want, has made the entire world completely delusional. Then why would it do that?
To torture us.
But why would the universe want to torture people? It doesn't make sense.
It's just not the right time.
Still, consider you're the universe. What good reason is there to delude the entire civilization?
Well, what good reason was there to think that the sun went around the earth instead of the earth going around the sun? What good reason was there to have slavery? What good reason was there to have women not vote? What good reason was there for name something else? The world was flat at one time. What good reason was there for the Europeans to kill all the Native American Indians? I mean, things have their time. What good reason was there to not have the internet until when it was
What
cell
you're
phones?
asking, what you're asking.
How come there
is
wasn't
like,
any electricity for thousands of years, or light bulbs, or cars, or airplanes?
What you're asking, my friend Enel, is like.
I'm not asking. Things happen in their own time.
I know you're posing rhetorical questions. So basically, what you're saying
no,
is
there's
like,
no free will. They don't get it yet.
What good reason is there for pain? Because like there's pain in the world and there shouldn't be. If you were God, you're going to create a world. Are you going to create a world with pain? Why would you create
pain? All right,
pain?
look, we get into these hypothetical, crazy. I'm just here to tell the world there isn't free will. I don't know why there's pain or pleasure. I don't care. I just know there's no such thing as free will. People believe in free will. It's driving me crazy. I'm giving up. People, I'm here to say you've won. It's not the right time. I've explained other things that didn't have certain times. Maybe this show will be saved, and 100 years from now, when everybody gets it, they'll say those two schmucks on cable access were way... I mean, we're being looked at as schmucks on cable access in the middle of the night, trying to yell and scream about how people call us and say mean things. I don't want to put up with it. I've only lived once. I mean, I'm not here to waste my life.
Enel, I want
if you can't get it, I can't help it.
I want to express to our audience the importance of the work we're doing.
Oh, that's another thing. My mother says, you're right, there's no free will, but I don't care, it doesn't matter. Other people say, you're right. The other people who agree with us say, I know you're right, but I don't care, it's not important. That's a huge part of our audience.
It does matter because, like, John Searle says it matters, and because it does matter because, like...
They never heard of John Searle. Who the hell is John?
The entire world being completely deluded
Einstein
about
said
this.
there wasn't free will.
I'm going to, what we're doing, I'm going to preface this. Let me speak for a while, all right?
Quantum mechanics.
I want to get this, all right. Freud was very famous. He was like very acknowledged, not for being the first person to understand there's an unconscious, right? He popularized it. He took this idea, and all of a sudden, all the society, civilization understands. Whoa, there's an unconscious that makes us do stuff, which incidentally is another reason we have free will. Darwin wasn't the first person to come up with evolution. He explained it in a way that people finally get it.
We're trying to popularize. We're failing.
Shut up. So like what you and I are doing, we're not the first people on the planet to say we don't have free will. Spinoza said it. A lot of people said it before us. But we are the first to take it from academia, where nobody really talks about it, and to bring it out into the world. So we're doing the world.
What are you talking about? Philosophy class, that's all they do is talk about it. They screw it up.
No, they don't.
They screw it up.
We're doing the world a huge favor. We're doing something very, very
First of all, I'm not doing anything. I don't believe in free will, so I'm not doing anything. There is no me. There's no you. Without free will, there's no you. You know that, right?
Commercial. If we're going to have recognition, all right. One of the reasons we're doing this show, right, is because we want to benefit from this. We're leading the world to new consciousness.
We have our own
we should benefit from this.
We have our pleasure principles. We have our hedonic imperatives.
So go with us. So explain
we're
to
conduits.
our audience. Explain to the audience.
I'm along for the ride.
Come on. This false modesty is not going to get you anywhere.
Of course I want credit. I want my hedonic imperative.
So what do you want credit for having done?
Just being the pragmatic, proximate cause of changing people's mind about free will.
Right. In other words, what we're doing...
I'm a change facilitator.
We're taking this topic and finally, after decades,
we were chosen by the universe,
bringing it
not
to the
free
public's
chosen.
attention, all right? We are the ones who did that. You and I. We're not like these highfalutin academics, but we did it. We did it through this show. We did it through your show in Manhattan. We did it through the
haven't done anything yet. What we're doing is giving up. Nobody cares.
Well, it's not that we're giving up.
I want to go to a different topic. People say they can't get it, and then there are people who get it who say it doesn't matter. So we have two people. Why can't they say it matters? We know the people who can't get it. The people who can't get it have the hedonic imperative, okay? They just can't. It's too psychologically, emotionally, mentally unhinging to their whole system to shatter their paradigm and go from a free will to a no free will paradigm, consciousness, mindset. I understand that. They don't like being upset. We don't like being upset. They can have a nervous breakdown. They can get suicidally depressed, homicidal, so they don't want to believe. Now there are people who understand that we're correct, who say it doesn't matter.
You know why they say it doesn't matter?
It has to be hedonic imperative again. It's too much work for them.
They say it doesn't matter because...
Yes, let's focus on that
because they think that...
They get it 100%. They get it.
They are saying that it doesn't matter because they're afraid of it. In other words, if they say it doesn't matter, they think that people like you and me and Sam Harris are just going to go away. We're going to like not remind them because they don't want to know about it. So if they say it doesn't matter, they think that we'll oh, fine, it doesn't matter, so like we won't repeat it again. They're protecting their well-being.
So we're talking about someone who gets it, who knows there's no free will.
And
then they poo-poo it and say, it doesn't matter, stop wasting your time with that stupid show.
See, because here's the thing. All right.
I think it's because they're too busy with their regular lives earning money to even, they don't have the energy to care.
All right, actually, let's go with that, because that is another reason. In other words, like you and I have been thinking about this for a long time, a lot, and most people haven't. In other words, like...
Or what difference will it make?
When the IBM chairman, like back in the 50s or something, said, like, we're going to have a computer in every household, people were saying, what are you, crazy? What does everybody need a computer for? They didn't get it. It took like decades for people to get it.
No, I'm saying people get it. They don't know it's important.
I know. That's what I'm saying. My example is like when this IBM guy said that, about computers, they didn't get the importance of it. So in other words, it may take 10, 20 years for people to get, oh, now I understand why they were saying it was so important. It's going to take them time.
So you're saying they don't get it? They do get it, but they don't think it's important because they don't get it?
No.
That's circular thinking.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying is they haven't thought about it enough to understand its importance. Some people like you and I.
They're saying, what difference will it make?
I know. So
we'll tell the audience in a minute. What difference will it make?
The difference it'll make is like our entire world is completely deluded about the fundamental nature of human will, about why we do things. I mean, like, to think that stuff is up to us when absolutely nothing, that is huge. That's a shift in consciousness. It's evolutionary. It's the biggest thing to happen
and revolutionary
ever on the planet.
Not to mention it takes heaven and hell right off the table.
Well, yeah, not necessarily. You know why?
Sure it does.
No, you know why? Because, like, in this life, nothing is up to us, right? But still, God or the universe makes us do things that it rewards us for, and then it makes us do things that it punishes us for. So it could be that, like, when we die, it's just more of the same. I hope not.
But without free will, how could there be heaven or hell? You can't judge a man's life whose will isn't free.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm an optimist. I believe that after this life,
let me get this clear.
Because we don't have
no free will,
we're all going to heaven.
If there's no free will, there's no heaven or hell. It's all wrong. You're religious, nutty people, priests, ministers, rabbis, Muslim seconds. There can't be heaven or hell without free will because you can't judge a man whose will is not free.
What he's saying is, like, if there was a heaven, if there was a hell, it wouldn't be fair. See you next week. All right, we'll be back.